with you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, good morning. Today, Monday, the 28th of August, 2023. You're welcome to your business segment of your favorite program, Bumper Breakfast Show on MITV. I am Abiola Ismail, and as we usually do it, we give you stories that made headline in the business world in Nigeria last week before we go to discussion that we have for today. And our first story last week, you remember that the BRIC held a summit in South Africa, Johannesburg, and our Vice President, Shettima, was there and brought up the story. Vice President Kashim Shettima has said that Nigeria remains committed to collaborating with China and other African countries to ensure that partnership objectives are achieved for the mutual benefit of both parties. Shettima stated this when he represented President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the BRICS Summit in Johannesburg at the China-African Leaders Roundtable Dialogue meeting on the margin of the BRICS Summit, Johannesburg, South Africa. Vice President maintained that Nigeria welcomes the new initiatives introduced by the Chinese authority, which include supporting and promoting the modernization of Africa's agriculture and the modernization of agriculture and the robust support for African to expedite regional integration and backing Africa's industrialization and infrastructural expansion. Shettima spoke to a large audience including President Xi Jinping of China and some African leaders on the theme promoting African integration and jointly building a high-level African-China community with a shared future at the Southern Convention Center. He commended the existing partnership between China and Africa, particularly the three newly identified initiatives and priority area of cooperation between China and Africa in the area of agriculture, industrialization, and human capacity development. He said these align with the renewed hope mantra of President Tinubu administration and the United Nations Agenda 2063 and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 2030, adding that they are relevant to our continental and national development aspiration. That was Vice President Shettima while speaking with leaders in Africa and the Chinese authority. And we have also this story. Is to many Nigerians a good story, but to the Nigerian Labour Congress, it wasn't a good story at all. And the story is on the National Bureau of Statistics, saying that Nigeria's unemployment rate dropped by 4.1% in the first quarter of 2023 from 5.3% in the fourth quarter of 2022. Speaking during the launch of methodology of the Nigerian Labour Force Survey, the statistician General of the Federation and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, Prince Adeyemi Adeniran, said the drop was due to the new methodology considering employed persons as those who engaged in at least 1 hour of work during the last 7 days the survey was conducted. Adeniran said the new figure brings Nigeria's labor survey in tandem with international standard, which is equally used by Niger, Benin, Cameroon, Chad, Ghana, and other African countries. He stressed that the new figure was not to give the new government a good fuss, but to bring up the method used to conduct labor survey in Nigeria. At that meeting, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, said the 12% wage employment indicates the government needs to do more to prevent employment for graduates. He said the result was released 3 months into the life of President administration, thus has no bearing of what the government has to do. On this note, you could remember that the World Statistics some time ago said Nigeria was leading the table of the unemployment rate in Africa or in the world at 3.3%. And now the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics has said that we have dropped by 4.1%. How realistic is that? Now let's listen to this extract from that meeting.
Given the informal nature of our economy and the relatively weak pension system available in the country, it is common in Nigeria to see people over the age of 64 still engaged in one form of economic activity or the other, and their work forms part of the total output for the country. With over 61% of those in that category still engaged in employment, their contribution cannot be ignored. It should be recognized in our competition. What about the unemployed? These appear to be the most controversial among the changes that we are announcing and that will be seen today. The new standard defines unemployment as persons with the labor force, within the labor force, who within the 7 days reference period did not work for pay or profit for a minimum of 1 hour. This is a significant departure from the whole definition, which used 20 hours as benchmark.
Those in employment need support to make better life, to make better incomes. And so the fact that more are employed does not suggest that they don't need more. And we are very, very cognizant with that. But this is a very positive story that we have been measuring on employment different from others. So maybe the competitiveness or the comparative indices that we have been relying upon are not on the same platform, and this can help bring us on the same footing with other countries. Available statistics show that wage employment, which is usually more desirable by graduates, still represent only less than 12%. And with graduate unemployment higher than average unemployment, it is imperative that a lot needs to be done to address the higher rate of youth employment in the country.
This methodology that we are talking about has nothing to do with MBS promoting the image of any government or political party. When we are doing the sensitization for media, for CSOs, the feedback we are getting is that, MBS want to say that the new government that is coming on board, they are doing well. That is why they want to change the methodology of computing the labor force. They want the result to favor the incoming government. As somebody stated here, I think Professor Obadan, MBS, we don't look each's face when it comes to data collection, when it comes to the result. You can agree with me that during campaign, we released the multidimensional poverty index result that put Nigeria, 133 million Nigerians multidimensionally poor. People were asking me everywhere I go that you get mind, you are bold. How can you release that kind of figure when campaign is going on? But that is what the figure is saying.
Yeah, that was the Minister of Budget and Planning and the General Statistician of Nigeria, Mr. Adeniran, talking about the reduction in the unemployment rate in Nigeria by 4.1%. I don't know how you will see that. And when you look at what the Nigerian Labour Congress said immediately after the point was released, that the organized labor said Nigeria rejected completely. That means the organized labor in Nigeria have rejected the latest report released by the NBC. That the unemployment rate in the country has fallen by 4.1%, describing the report as a fraud. Organized labor contended that the report was a far cry from the reality on the ground, warning that with the report, the NBC could lose its credibility. You see, when you're talking about giving statistics, giving figure to issues that are on ground that people can see, it is better for any organization, for anybody, for the government to be focused on what is on ground. Now, the NBC has said that Nigeria has dropped in terms of unemployment by 4.1, and the labor organization are saying that no, we cannot take that report. So we need to come to maybe an equilibrium point that this is exactly where we are, so that the present government will know where to tackle in terms of creating that unemployment, creating the job for the teeming youth that we have. Not that we just come out and tell us that this is what we are going to do or this is where we are today. In order not to waste much of our time, we are going to go straight to our discussion this morning. And our discussion this morning is on the feasibility of attaining crude oil production in Nigeria by December, as promised by the present administration, amidst weak oil production, which may eat to drag the gross domestic product in quarter 3. We are already in quarter 3, going to quarter 4 by September, before we get to the end of the year. Now, to do justice to this discussion, I have via Zoom Mr. Yakub Lawal. Is an energy expert, is an energy analyst, who is going to do justice to this discussion. Good morning, Mr. Lawal.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, Nigeria are eager to welcome a turnaround in terms of crude oil production in the country comes December. This was the promise of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, what is your take on this? Do you believe in this, or do you see it as just the mere say?
Thank you very much once again. For me, the duty of government is to give hope to the populace. And I think that is what the policy direction is trying to achieve. Give hope in the sense that before now, all Nigerians were being told that by the time Dangote refinery is commissioned, there will be fuel everywhere domestically. But we know that that may not be attainable in the timeline they gave to Nigerians, which was August, that is ending now. And that refinery definitely will not come on stream until quarter 1, 2024. That's for sure. So, possibly in order to guide against the hopelessness of Nigeria, keeping hope that something is coming from the refinery. This idea of Polako refinery is coming up that, okay, by December, there is going to come on stream. I don't believe that that refinery will come on stream December in terms of refinery product for Nigeria. I don't think so. I don't, because all the calculations, all the instances on ground doesn't suggest that. If the previous government of had done much work on that, and now we're just ramping up, one can have that group. We are talking of a very big, gigantic plant.
Project.
It's not something you just start today. You have to do some technical commissioning, and that one takes time. So the idea of saying that by December, I think they are just playing to the gallery, and government is giving us hope that by December we'll get product from that refinery. You will rest assured that by December, maybe they will tell you that we're having 15 or 20% output from that refinery, which is not good enough for the country.
Now, when you look at the parameters surrounding this uncertainty in terms of the pipeline maintenance, in terms of the aging infrastructure, in terms of the terminal shutdown, with all this, when you sum it up, just like what you rightly said, that it might not be feasible. If government can put one or two things together and ensure that all these factors are checked before that time, do you see any changes in your statement?
See, for me, there's no quick fix because the refinery has been there for years without even operating. So there are a lot of decay in the system. There's so many obsolete equipment that they need to change. It's not something you do in a hurry. What I think the government should have done is, okay, now that we are serious in revamping one or two of our refineries, then let us encourage Dangote, because they are still in technical commissioning process, as it were. So let us encourage them so that they can bring us up, so that we can have a comprehensive maintenance. You see, since everybody is interested in turnaround maintenance, that's when this problem started with us. Everybody wants to have a share of how do you, carry out this turnaround? Ordinarily, this is supposed to be an in-house thing conducted by either Port Harcourt Refinery Company or a Warri Refinery Company. But because there is now political intervention, that's why we had all this, intervention here and there that does not give us result. So for me, it's not a plan that you can work on and rush everything and you think that you get result. What happened if by December they rush all they needed to do, and by January we are told that the refinery is down again? What happened? We'll be back to square one. And me personally, I don't even have faith in the current management of those refineries continuing the process. Let government sit back and plan well, and possibly invite experts that can manage refineries. Most times we talk about LNG model. There's nothing wrong in government sitting down to consider LNG model and whatever concession they want to give, so that there's no multinational oil company that will run that refinery and will allow it to stay for 1 week without producing. None of them will do that. So the idea of rushing, we'll spend billions now. At the end of the day, we're back to square one. These refineries were there almost throughout the tenure of the previous government, 8 years. They were all down, moribund. And we want to put everything, we want to carry out, turn around the plans between now and December and expect Nigeria to be happy that they get product by December. Well, I'm not a prophet of doom. But from my own perspective, from my own point of view, I don't think, and my experience in the industry, I don't think that it's achievable.
Now, when you look at the modular refinery that we've been talking about for years, now, if federal government goes into modular refinery or encouraging private sector to go into modular refinery, can this be another set to help Nigeria come on board?
Yeah, it can. That depends on the political of the government. You know, the idea of modular refinery started way back when the man was in charge of Nigeria to go into that. And at the end of the day, all failed. And maybe what made that confident, the concept, they give you a leeway, a kind of incentive that, okay, if you are coming up with this plant, you have ability, they'll give you license to lift crude so that at least you'll be able to mitigate any challenges that will come on you, either financial or not. That's why everybody was rushing to pick the plants at that time. But I think there's modification to that. Okay. And we're able to get serious investors this time around. Yes, why not? There are so many people in the Niger Delta region that are very rich. They have the resources, they have the wherewithal, they have the technical that can go into this, and they'll make success out of it. So I believe that if government can, look at the policy and how to engage this, it's not just modular refinery for the boys. No. Completely out of it. So let's identify those people that have the resources and are determined to make things work. We have so many indigenous companies that are thriving. So we can give them a trial, and I'm sure we'll succeed.
Now, what will be your last statement, or what's your last statement to the federal government in terms of ensuring that your promises, come on board, or your promises are made to benefit Nigerians comes December with this refinery we are talking about?
Well, my advice to them is that they shouldn't rush.
Okay.
Already a mistake has been made by announcing the removal of subsidy without necessarily putting in place the necessary steps that should cushion the effect. Now that we are looking inward, I think it's better for them to go back to the drawing board, look at what they have, the plan they have. If they cannot go with, for instance, the 150 barrels per day for that refinery, if it is 60,000 barrels they can go with, I think let them start at that level, so that instead of addressing all of them at the same time, let them concentrate on the 60,000 barrels per day for that refinery. Then we know that we have something that we can hold on. Then from there, they graduate to the next level. I think they can attempt that while they are doing that, they're also talking with Dangote to ensure. After all, NMDC, I think they acquire about 20% equity in Dangote. So that also makes them a stakeholder, and they should also be able to have a say in how to manage that place or how to bring it on board. So if they can go with all this, dual approaches, I'm sure we'll have a relief at the end of the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yakub Lawal, an energy analyst on this issue. We're trying to look at the possibility of having the refinery in Port Harcourt, coming on board and ensuring that Nigeria also get back to that production country. I really appreciate your time, Mr. Yakub. Thank you very much for your submission. Now, you're welcome, sir. Yeah. We'll take a short break. When we come back, Kende Adega is on standby to give us a performance on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Your shares, my shares, what we have, what has been the bulls and the bearish, what they've been able to gain and what they've been able to lose last week before we go into trading for this week. Kende Adega is on standby. Kende, good morning.
Good morning, Biola. How are you today?
Very thank God. What is the performance reaction last week, and what are we expecting for this week?
Well, the market was bullish last week, at least closed on a bullish run as against the bearish run that probably was experienced the previous week. The figures that we have last week shows that the market recorded 1.81 billion shares valued at 29.29 billion naira, exchanged in 31,163 deals, as against the previous transaction figure of 1.69 billion shares worth 29.41 billion naira, done in 29,477 deals. The financial service sector continued to dominate activities as a total of 936.68 million shares were traded, valued at 10.12 billion naira, done in 12,886 deals, contributing 51.68% and 34.53% to total market transactions in volume and value terms, respectively. The conglomerate industry shows 461.59 million shares, worth 2.33 billion naira, done in 3,451 deals. The consumer goods industry with 127.31 million shares, worth 5 billion naira, exchanged in 5,792 deals. Top trades in the market last week was that of Transnational Corporation PLC, Fidelity Bank PLC, and Access Holdings PLC, recording 693.53 million shares, worth 5 billion naira, done in 5,450 deals, contributing 38.26% and 17.17% to total market transactions in volume and value terms, respectively. The exchange-traded products also recorded an increase in terms of the volume and value of transactions last week, with a transaction figure of 11,914 units being traded, worth 3.98 million naira, done in 72 deals, as against the previous transaction figure of 30,336 units, worth 2 million naira, done in 69 deals. The bond market shows 103,716 units traded, worth 107.33 million naira, exchanged in 30 transactions, as against the previous week's transaction figure of 292,995 units of bond that was traded, worth 294.93 million naira, exchanged in 48 views. Meanwhile, the market capitalization of the market capitalization last week shows 35.88 trillion naira, as against the previous figure of 35.79 trillion naira, and the index closed at 65,558.91 basis points, making the market to appreciate by 1.29% in the market cap and the index last week. The gainers shows 32 gainers last week, and as against 29 gainers the previous week. 46 losers was recorded last week as against 56 losers that were recorded the previous week, while 77 stock prices were unchanged last week as against the 70 stocks prices that were unchanged the previous week. And so from the gainers table, we have Associated Bus Company PLC appreciating by 20 kobo to close at 68 kobo. Transnational Corporation PLC gain 1 naira 64 kobo to close at 5 naira 80 kobo. Dangote Sugar was up by 12 naira 50 kobo to close at 47 naira 50 kobo. And Thomas Wyatt PLC gained 41 kobo to close at 1 naira 70 kobo. From the losers table, we have Tantalizers PLC topping the table with a price depreciation of 11 kobo to close at 29 kobo. Resta Express PLC lost 61 kobo to close at 2 naira 9 kobo. Dow Communication PLC lost 5 kobo to close at 27 kobo, and Guinea Insurance PLC was down by 4 kobo to close at 25 kobo. Of course, we expect that the market will bounce back again this week, all things being equal. And of course, like you know, information is key in the market. So whatever information that the stockbrokers may have had over the weekend may likely translate into what the performance of the market will be today and for the remaining days in the week. But we expect that, give or take, the market will experience some ups and downs in either of the days of the week. But in total, at the close of the market for the week today, we expect a bullish run. That's the market report. Over to you, Biola.
Now, Kende, when you look at the sectorial performance of these of the shares, when you look at the banking, the conglomerates, insurance, manufacturing, it seems because of the economic downturn, many people are no more interested in buying shares. Now, you gave us a shocking revelation now that the Tantalizer shares has gone down, even less than 50 kobo of the market value. Now, with these, what's your take on this? Will you say that it's the economy that is affecting me, or the saving culture is no more there?
Well, I think what is affecting some of these stocks is lack of information. For a very long time, some of these companies have not released information that can prop up their stock. And of course, you discover that for a very long time, there hasn't been transaction in some of these stocks.
Exactly.
Their prices are being static. As it were. And this can be attributable to the companies not coming out to give information.
Yes,
like you know, the market is a place where you have to dance naked, meaning that you have to be open whether your result is good or bad. All
yes.
you needed is to get the market informed about your performance. Of course, for every downturn in any company, there should be a reason for those figures that may be released. In a situation where you don't give information as to what transpired or what happened to your performance or your transaction in the year or in the quarter, it means that you are leaving the investors without any option other than to say this company is not worth investing in. For instance, look at that communication. For so many years, the market price has been completely down. In fact, there was no transaction at all. And so when people start hearing about the performance, maybe of some performance in the market, in the company, some investors started trading. And the trading they are trading is at least they could get 1 or 2 kobo appreciation in the price. But when they discover that the information are not flowing again, of course, the best thing for any investor is to opt out, whereby you don't have information, you cannot continue to remain or stay in a company where there is no information. So you need to opt out. And the second thing is the fact that the economy notwithstanding, the regulatory body, because the financial industry is well regulated, both from the Securities and Exchange Commission, from the Central Bank of Nigeria, and from the self-regulated market, which is the Nigerian Exchange. It means that information that comes in there is very key to investors, and so they cannot afford to play with information that they send in there. Naturally, the Central Bank expects them to give a quarterly report to them, and so with this information that they give, it causes the market to experience some increase on a weekly basis in terms of volume and value of transactions from the financial subsector of the economy. I think that's what is happening.
Thank you very much, Kende Adiaga. We hope that by the end of today's trading, we should be expecting a bullish performance from the shares holders. We shall see you again tomorrow to give us the performance of today's transaction. Thank you. I will now we're leaving now to my colleague Stanley Polikau, who is going to give you a sport update of what transpired yesterday during the EPL, the CAF, Nigerian League, and the rest. After this break, just stay with us. My name is still Abiola Ismail. I'll join you again tomorrow.